For the purpose of Ayurveda as a science, it has been found useful to take the 5 elements and condense them down into 3 principles that we call doshas. We only call them doshas, or we should only call them doshas, though by the principle of tamas, everybody calls them doshas nowadays. We should only call them doshas when they are out of balance and actively disturbing the tissues. As long as they are in balance, they are causing the body to remain in balance, and then we actually call them dhatus, or sustaining principles of the system. When they are in excess, but before they have caused any kind of imbalance, then we call them mullas. We call them waste products because we need to get rid of them. It's only when they are out of balance and they are creating more out of balanceedness that we should call them doshas. Earth and water together create kapha, and earth and water Kapha exists because earth and water require a force to keep them associating with one another. If you've ever been to the seashore, you will see there's the seawater and there's the sand. But the sand does not dissolve in water, so it requires a force of movement to keep the sand circulating in the water. And that's what Kapha does. That's the force that continues to cause earth and water to associate with one another inside the system. The job of Pitta is to keep water and fire associated. And as you know, water and fire, if you have a fire and you pour water on it, normally it will go out. And if you have a hot enough fire and you put water on top of it, eventually the water will boil off. The job of Pitta is that it has to keep these two in balance so that they can circulate in the system in a balanced, harmonious kind of way and perform the job which the fire must do in the system, which is to digest, not just digest the food, but digest incoming sensory information, digest the oil on the skin to turn it into vitamin D. All kinds of digestion must occur with the help of the fire element, which can only exist in the organism in the context of the water element. Therefore, we have Pitta. And the air element and the space element together create Vata, because Vata is always in charge of moving things in the organism. And you can only move things if there is force for the movement, that's the air element, and space in which to move, that's the space element. So if there's too much space and not enough force, there will not be much movement. And if there is not enough space and too much force, there will be too much movement. So that balance has to be generated by the Vata. The thing that we want to very much avoid is having too much Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Because Vata is the waste product form of prana. They're both generated from the air element. We like prana. Prana is very healthy. Prana invigorates us. Prana causes all of the cells in the body to be given the life force so that they will all cooperate with one another to create the individual organism that is you and me. And prana will function as prana as long as it is circulating slowly, evenly, and deeply in the tissues. As soon as it starts to circulate unevenly, too fast, and to become concentrated in one area and become deficient in another area, then that is aggravation of Vata. So we have prana as the desirable form of the air element and Vata as the undesirable form, even though we have to have it. We have to have it in a minimal form for this purpose. Pitta is the least useful form of the fire element in the organism. Tejas is the most refined, most useful form of the fire element in the organism. We like to have abundant tejas. We need to have just the right amount of pitta to do all of the jobs that are necessary inside the body. Similarly, we like to have a minimum amount of kapha in the system, just enough to lubricate everything, just enough to keep all of the different parts of the body well integrated. But kapha is the least useful juice in the system. There are many juices, many rasas inside the body. Kapha is the least intelligent rasa, and therefore it is the least useful. The most intelligent of the juices in the system is ojas, which is also the most refined. So we're always looking to try to create more ojas and create less kapha. The better that the digestive process is working, the better we will have, or the more of prana, tejas, and ojas we will possess, and the less of kapha, pitta, and vata, which are produced as waste products in the context of digestion. It is, of course, due to prana inspiring and enkindling the fire that the digestive process works well. If the prana is circulating well, then the fire will be strong. If the fire is strong, then the earth and water will do what they need to do. If there is insufficient earth and water, then the fire will become too hot initially, and then it will die out altogether. If there's too much earth and water, then they will drown the fire, and then the fire will be unable to do anything. So we have to keep all of the 5 elements well balanced with one another if we hope to be healthy. And this is what we try to do at all times in our pursuit of the Ayurvedic ideal.